Hello there everybody, Billabo10000 here, bringing you another BBTT Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC theory video, and today we are taking a look at a Twitter thread that has been requested for me to take a look at for a few days now, ever since May the 2nd when it first came up. And since I have nothing to plug in this video today, I finished my Minecraft Diversity 3 series, I think it's about time we just get straight into this. So we're going to be taking a look at Green Tweets 8's Rayman Google document thread. Now, their tweet says, "I made a thread of Rayman's rather convincing case for Smash Ultimate, and I'd appreciate it if you took a look at it for a video." Now, I didn't take a look at the doc just yet. I decided to hold off on it simply because Google Docs scare me after the last two that I covered about Erdrick and how scarred I was after those. But when I actually clicked on the Google Doc today to take a look at it, it actually wasn't as long as those threads, so I'm more confident in being able to cover it this time. And I think Rayman is a character that some people definitely believe in and some people don't believe in, and I think there is definitely an argument for him not being DLC, but you know what, I can understand why people are still holding on hope, and I want to read this thread with you guys and we can make our own opinions together. So let's just get straight into this with the case for Rayman in Smash. For those of you not in the know, Rayman is a platforming mascot owned by the company Ubisoft. He originated in 1995 with the first Rayman game and has gotten himself a cult following ever since. Now, what does the limbless wonder himself have to do to get in Smash? Well, Nintendo and Ubisoft's relationship. It's undeniable that Ubisoft and Nintendo have been on amazing terms lately. Ubisoft has developed 3 games for the Switch since its launch: Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Starlink Battle for Atlas, and most importantly, Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. This puts Rayman in a great spot because, as you all may know, Nintendo did the choosing this time around, so it will be pretty easy for Nintendo to negotiate to add the character because Ubisoft is clearly very open to collaborate with Nintendo. Hell, Ubisoft themselves admitted on Twitter that they'd love it if Rayman could join Smash back in the Smash 4 days. They replied to Aussie Beats, who said, "Rayman Smash League is fake, but what are your thoughts on it? Would you guys consider him in Smash? Is there any DLC possibilities?" And then Ubisoft was like, "Hey Oscar, we'd love to see Rayman join the fight in Smash Bros, but for now, we're very pleased to have 3 trophies in-game." And this was obviously back on the 18th of February 2015, very soon after the artsy Omni leak. Now, many people are saying due to Nintendo and Microsoft's partnership, they'll add a Microsoft rep, and while I agree, the same absolutely goes for Ubisoft. Okay, so let's break this down first things first. This user is claiming that obviously Ubisoft is one of those Western developers that Nintendo could easily approach for a character. I agree. I personally feel there are 3 big studios that definitely could get a character, and they are Microsoft for obvious reasons, Bethesda simply because they have been supporting the Switch very well recently, and Ubisoft because have we not seen how well their games are doing on the Switch? Kingdom Battle was bloody amazing. Starlink Battle for Atlas had over 80% of its sales from the Switch version, so it really says a lot that Ubisoft hasn't got a playable character yet, and I think they definitely do deserve it. I think if you are looking at it as there could be 2 Western reps, and let's say Microsoft gets one of them, I think Bethesda and Ubisoft fighting it out for that second spot makes a lot of sense, and Ubisoft has a genuine claim to said slot. However, let's discuss spirits. If you didn't know, back in Smash 4, Rayman wasn't the only Rayman trophy. Glowbox and Barbara also made an appearance as trophies, but now the only Rayman spirit is Rayman himself. Glowbox and Barbara are weirdly absent. These wouldn't be hard to implement, so I don't see why they'd just remove them like this. However, thanks to Joker, we now know that DLC fighters have spirits that come with them. So if Rayman were to be added, those spirits would likely return. The issue with this is that Rayman himself is a spirit in-game. That implies he was destroyed by Galeem, he didn't have a corporeal fighting entity, and his spirit isn't a fighter spirit. It is a full-on spirit battle in World of Light, and I do feel like if we got Rayman as a fighter, it would conflict with his appearance as a fighter in World of Light. Now, at the same time, you can also argue Glowbox and Barbara were removed simply because a majority of the third parties who didn't have playable characters well, they only ever had one trophy. Look at Shantae. Shantae only had one trophy. Unless franchise had an assist trophy, third-party franchises only have one trophy, and Rayman certainly fits that bill. It's a real shame, because I feel like Rayman has a lot of colorful characters who could work well as spirits, but I think you can make the case that Rayman having one spirit makes sense, given how they were treating third-party spirits this time around. So I don't know whether this is necessarily proof that Rayman could be coming because spirits could be used for the DLC Spirit Board. However, it does give him a slight leg up over certain other spirits who happen to have a lot of spirits from their franchise in-game, looking at you, Shovel Knight. Anyway, Smash Ballot popularity. Before Artsy Omni happened, Rayman was a semi-popular but slept-on character. But after Artsy Omni's infamous leak happened, more and more people started wanting him. And that leads us up to now. He's a very popular name, brought up in many discussions now. And he's been on the top of many character polls. And he shows 4 different pictures of 4 different character polls that we can take a look at. The first shows Rayman in 5th place, behind Shantae, Bayonetta, Sora, and Banjo. This was back during the Smash 4 DLC period. I think all of these were. Then, if you scroll down, there is a massive pie chart with my boy Isaac in 1st place, who sadly didn't make it. And you can see Rayman there near Wonder Red and Dixie by Captain Toad as well. Most wanted Smash Ultimate newcomers, you see that on the V board on 4chan, and you can see Rayman right next to Pokemon and Travis Touchdown. Pretty good spot. And then there is a poll where Rayman, I believe, comes in 4th place there. And given the other all the characters actually in that top 4 are referenced in the game in some way, so that's pretty impressive. But yeah, that is the case. Rayman is popular. Rayman is obviously one of the most popular third-party characters on the Smash ballot. You might make the argument that we haven't gotten characters like Geno and Bandana D, but with limited newcomer slots, not all of them are bound to make it in. But now we're in the DLC section. If there are more fighter packs, that won't hold characters like Rayman from joining the battle. Here's the thing though, that's implying there are more fighter packs. We really don't know if Nintendo are going to support this game past February 2020. We want Nintendo to support this game past February 2020, but I feel like the likelihood of them actually following through with that, at least for the first year from 2020 to 2021, is very unlikely aside from balance patches. I do think maybe in 2021 we could get some more DLC, but it really depends on whether Sakurai goes the "this is our final DLC character ever" route when it comes to the final released character of this fighter pack, because I want more characters, y'all want more characters. If Smash Ultimate is going to be the definitive Smash experience for years to come, why stop at just 5 characters? That's my opinion. But also, Sakurai, have a break, please. Please have a rest, please. Other Ubisoft reps now, this is a fun one. Okay, we can't go without talking about these little assholes. A lot of people are saying these guys will get in first because they're more popular, and they had a crossover with Mario, but to counter that, popularity doesn't mean anything. If it did factor, we'd get Dixie Kong instead of King K. Rool. And Mario and Luigi had outfits in the Wii U and Switch versions of Rayman Legends. Also, not only are Rabbids generic enemies, but they're also spin-off characters. It'd be like adding in Wario or Piranha Plant before Mario. It just isn't logical. I kind of disagree with that. I don't remember necessarily when the Rabbids appeared. If they were Rayman's spin-off characters, that's fair, but the thing is they've kind of got on to form their own brand. They had multiple games that had nothing to do with the Rayman brand. Rabbids Go to Space, or Go Home, I believe was one of them on the Wii, where you had the shopping trolley, and that was great. And Kingdom Battle was a major success. The Rabbids are like the minions from Despicable Me, and I feel like they have basically outgrown that little box of being a spin-off, and they have become their own entity. I also would disagree. I don't think that Dixie Kong was more popular than King K. Rool. King K. Rool was definitely, I feel, the more popular of the two. However, he was mentioned less simply because people didn't want to get their hopes up. Also, the Mario and Luigi having outfits in Rayman Legends in the Wii U and Switch versions makes sense, because have you noticed that Ubisoft is really, really kind with the Nintendo content in their games? It's not just Mario and Luigi, it's also Star Fox and Starlink Battle for Atlas. That's another one that you got to keep in mind as well. So this is kind of par for the course with Ubisoft at this point. So moving on, Just Dance, Just Dance. Admittedly, it's Ubisoft's most popular IP by far and has major presence on Nintendo consoles, but the only music Just Dance has are licensed songs, and it'd be licensing hell to add those songs into Smash, and I don't see Nintendo or Sakurai wanting to go through with that. I agree, Just Dancer is not happening, let's just move on. And then there's Ezio. He's the only other Ubisoft rep that can maybe compete with Rayman. He's from a very successful franchise, and Creed 3 is coming to Switch. However, like I said in the Rabbids segment, popularity barely means anything anymore. Well, for DLC, I disagree. For DLC, you want to pick the popular characters because you want to make the most money. With DLC, sure, you can appeal to the fans, but I feel like with a lot of DLCs, game developers try to appeal to fans of other games by adding in those characters. For example, the Persona 5 audience and the Smash Bros. Audience didn't always cross over, so by adding Joker into the game, Sakurai has introduced an entirely new audience into Smash Bros. He could easily do the same with Ezio, or even the Rabbids if you want to go there. And while I will admit that the Rabbids specifically I don't think have a shot because a majority of the Kingdom Battle Rabbids are spirits in-game, I do think Ezio still definitely has a shot, and I think he could definitely compete with Rayman. If not, I think he has a better case than Rayman, but I will get into that at the end of this thread. So, Rayman 4. On October 12th of 2017, a Rayman director by the name of Michael Ansel confirmed Rayman 4, saying he was ready to return to the Glade of Dreams, and with the way things have been unfolding, it seems likely we'd be getting info on Rayman 4 at Ubisoft's E3 presentation with a late 2019 release window. Now, how does this tie into Smash? Well, back in Smash 4, Sakurai said this: "We conduct a character poll both domestically and internationally. We also research games that are currently being developed. After that, it's pretty much up to us with a touch of convenience." This in mind, it all just makes sense. While I don't think it'll be all advertising characters, if Ubisoft were to be contacted, it'd be a win-win scenario. Kids get introduced to a new recent Ubisoft games, and Nintendo makes that sweet dough off the character. I still feel like even if Rayman gets in, he won't make as much money as, say, Ezio, and I mean that simply because Assassin's Creed has a large untapped audience, whereas I feel like with Rayman, a lot of people who play Rayman also are Nintendo fans and do play Smash Bros. I feel like those audiences cross over so well that I feel like they wouldn't be making any new money out of Rayman. Sure, I think he is guaranteed to make a good deal of moolah, but would he make the most moolah out of Ubisoft's reps? Who knows? Next up, Rayman's presence in Smash 4. Back in Smash 4, Ubisoft was the only third party that had trophies, but no character or assist. That really shows that Rayman was at least considered. It's the least concrete point, but it certainly means something for the character. Fair enough, you admit it's the least concrete point, we're gonna move on. Nintendo history. Well, history doesn't mean a lot because Joker and Cloud stop. Nope, that is incorrect. The reason why Cloud got in is because he is a representative of the Final Fantasy series as a whole, which has had major support on Nintendo consoles through the first 6 iterations, and a lot of the later games are now being released on Nintendo consoles as re-releases. I just feel like people make that mistake so often because Cloud represents his franchise. Joker, despite the fact you could say yes, Joker and Persona 5, not much appearances on the Switch. Persona specifically hasn't had many appearances on Nintendo consoles, but Shin Megami Tensei has, and Atlus has been a major supporter of Nintendo consoles and handhelds for a very long time. It simply makes sense that the company was going to get a character, and they decided, you know what, let's bring Joker in because 1, Sakurai likes him, and 2, he's the character that's easily the most marketable for our company now because Persona 5 is our best game to date. So I feel like the Nintendo history card cannot be used against those two because there are valid reasons that actually prove they do technically have Nintendo history via their franchises. Anyway, the man's got the definitive Rayman Legends experience as a Switch exclusive and in both the Wii U and Switch versions of the game. Mario and Luigi make appearances as outfits for Rayman and Glowbox, and not only that, but Rayman Legends was the only third-party game used to advertise one of Nintendo's consoles, the Wii U specifically. That's really impressive, even if the Wii U flopped. These collaborations sell, sheeple. People really underestimate how much these games sell. Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle sold 2 million plus copies with a DLC campaign. Starlink did so well that 87% of its entire sales came off the Switch. They'd be stupid to not do more collaborations with the company, and they are aware of that. As one of the few workers at Ubisoft said that they'll do more and more collabs with Nintendo in the future, it's kinda suspicious. So that's all the reasons I feel Rayman's practically a shoo-in, but we're not done yet. We're going to get to the arguments in a second, though. So yeah, I don't think people underestimated Mario & Rabbids. I feel like that was one of those big hits when the Switch launched, and it was the only game people were talking about. I don't think that one had trouble. The problem is, do the Rayman games sell very well? Because I've always felt, at least from the outside perspective looking in, that Rayman's platformer games were great platformers, but they never sold as well as I feel they should have to warrant the hype that people give them. That's my opinion looking in, and I have to wonder if Nintendo are thinking about that, because I feel like Rayman, big character, awesome, but would the casuals like him? That's the real question, because not a lot of casuals play Rayman, and I feel like the casuals would enjoy Rabbids more. I would love to see Rayman, though, don't get me wrong. I think Rayman would be Ubisoft's best representative if they are going to get one, but I may be a bit pessimistic on this one. So anyway, let's take a look at some of these arguments. Rayman's in Brawlhalla, he can't be in Smash. When has being in Marvel vs. Capcom ever stopped Mega Man from being in the roster? Brawlhalla is a first-party fighting game owned by Ubisoft! If being in Marvel vs. Capcom never stopped Mega Man, I don't see how being in Brawlhalla would stop Rayman from making the cut. I agree. People made this argument when it was announced Rayman was in Brawlhalla, and I'm like, that makes no sense. Ubisoft owns the game, goddammit! Rayman is a Western-developed character. He can't be in. Incorrect. People making that assumption need to go the other way. However, I think a lot of people misconstrue that argument, and we'll read his answer first. While I do believe only 2 to 3 Western characters are likely, Sakurai and Nintendo likely already work with Ubisoft to get trophies and spirits in the game, so why not a character as well? Given Ubisoft's interest in Smash and how chummy they've been with Nintendo, I'd feel they would be one of the Western companies to be contacted. I agree, I think Ubisoft has a great chance of getting contacted. That's why I gave Ezio a 30% in my Rate Their Chances. That being said, I can understand where people are coming from when it comes to the Western-developed argument, even if they are kind of wrong. There is no precedent for Sakurai going to a Western third party and asking for a DLC character, because so far every single DLC character has been a Japanese-based fighter. However, this is the time to change that. This is the ultimate Smash game. This is where Sakurai can finally step out of the comfort zone and go to companies that we would never expect. And I'm going to be very excited to see which Western characters do make the cut. Rayman's spirit is in an important place in World of Light. It was purposefully placed there, and that is my argument. I know that's my argument. This is the most valid argument by far, but I don't really agree. The spirits and their placings in World of Light were likely decided before the DLC. And how does that change? So? That's my opinion. So? Rayman was placed in a very obvious spot that blocked off a path to another part of the map. Nintendo would have had to purposefully put a character there, and they made it Rayman because they knew 1, he'd be challenging because he's a third-party character, 3-star spirit, and 2, difficult fight, guards an entirely new area of the map that you do need to get through to go to. And I feel like, no, that is something they decided, yeah, they may have decided that before DLC, but if they decided to put Rayman in that position, why on earth would they make him a DLC character soon after? They had the DLC decided by November of 2018, which means chances are they had an idea of who they wanted for DLC months prior, and they could have easily swapped a fight around with Rayman if they put him in as DLC, or if they knew it was going to be DLC, but they didn't. So that is why I personally believe that argument still holds up, and saying, oh, they were decided before DLC doesn't really hold up as an argument against the World of Light spirit. So I do hope this thread has convinced you why Rayman is more likely than you think. I put a ton of effort and research into this thread, and I hope it does not go unnoticed. So I do agree, I think a Ubisoft rep is likely. I think it is. I agree with a lot of your points. My problem is that I just feel like Rayman is very unlikely, because I feel like his spirit hurts him so badly that it actually makes it difficult for me to really root for him. He is such an important spirit in the game, in the World of Light, And I just feel like if they were going to make him a DLC, why put him in that position in World of Light? Why draw attention to him? Why not switch his spirit out with another character? There were tons of spirits that never got used in World of Light that could have taken up that spot. But they put Rayman in there because he's a third-party character and because Ubisoft needed that representation there and because that was probably part of their deal. That is why I do not think Rayman is going to be DLC. However, a lot of the points on this thread are completely valid, and if you took away the Rayman World of Light spirit, Rayman would be in a brilliant spot for this DLC, and I completely understand why people support him for Smash. I personally can't, simply because of his spirit, but if you ignore spirits and you don't believe spirits disconfirm, then Rayman has a brilliant shot, and I think you guys should continue championing him, because even if he doesn't get in this fighter pack, there could be more down the line, there could be a Smash 6 one day. I say support him, and keep your heads held high. Thank you very much everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow Green down below. Link to his original tweet will be there. And aside from that, I just want to say thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.